One more thing about switches, and this is also very important. The modes that we're going to use to transport frames across the backplane of the switch are important to understand. So there's three primary modes that you might run into with a switch, and that is cut through, store and forward, and fragment free. Now, of those three, cut through, what it does is it sees the packet come in, identifies where it's going to go, and it's going to do this based on the destination MAC address, and then forwards it out the port it's supposed to go to. That's very efficient. The problem with it is if there's any problem with the frame, meaning it's not large enough, let's say it's only 32K in size, a minimum frame size for Ethernet is 64K. So if it's not large enough, it's going to forward that errored packet over to the end station, and the end station has to deal with it and throw it out. Now these are, this would happen in scenarios where you've got a bogus or a really noisy, faulty network card that show up on your network. All of a sudden starts spitting out garbage, and the switch ends up sending it all over the place and then interrupting the existing traffic on the network because it's using cut-through mode. So the other method to use would be store and forward. In this case, we take the entire Ethernet frame in, no matter what its size, take a look at it, run the CRC check, the frame sequence check if it's the end of the packet, make sure it's good, and then forward it to the end destination. Now the problem here is it takes a lot more buffer space, and in order to run wire speed at store and forward, you have to have a pretty darn fast switch. Now our modern high-end switches, like a 6500 series switch, run store and forward at wire speed because, well, it's a really fast, monstrously large switch. Another solution, though, if you didn't have that level of speed, would be use something called fragment free. Now, fragment free brings in the first 64K, the minimum size for a legal Ethernet packet. There it is, said packet instead of frame. A legal Ethernet frame. Brings it in, looks at it, checks the destination, makes sure it's large enough, and then goes ahead and forwards it. So fragment free is probably the best solution for our lower end switches, where in store and forward, if I can still store and forward and run wire speed, probably the best to go there for our larger switches.